Loving is not suffering. Loving also means respecting yourself. As I always say, sometimes what a man doesn't say with words, he screams through his actions. And if you're here, it's probably because someone has left you confused with his silence, while at the same time surrounding you with gestures that you're not sure are signs or just coincidences. I understand you. For women who feel with their hearts and think with their souls, male behaviour can seem like a mystery, and not knowing whether he's already in love or just emotionally using you can be devastating. He doesn't say it, but he does these three things when he's already in love with you. And here's a truth almost no one tells you. When a man truly falls in love, he changes. He starts acting differently. His gaze changes. The little things change. And even if he says nothing, his body, his habits, the way he listens to you, everything starts speaking for him. Today I'm going to show you the 3 behaviours he displays when he's already emotionally involved, even if he hasn't yet found the courage to admit it. And as you listen, pay attention not only to what he does, but also to how you feel when he does it. Maybe this message is the silent answer your heart has been waiting for. Stay with me until the end, because something special is waiting for you, something that could forever change the way you see love. And if this touched you in any way, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. I want to see beyond the words. He looks at you differently. He's more present, more attentive, more protective, yet still says nothing. No words, no direct confession. And you wonder, why not? You're not overreacting, you're not imagining things. Something has changed, you feel it. It's just that his silence confuses you. But maybe what you don't yet know is that his silence says more about him than it does about you. From a young age, many men are taught to hide what they feel. Crying is weakness. Talking about feelings is for women. Expressing love then becomes a risk, an unconscious fear of seeming vulnerable, of losing control, of giving themselves and not being loved back. He might be in love, yes, but what he learned about love made him believe that showing is safer than saying. So he starts to show in his own way. It's that protective way, that silent care, the way he's interested in the details of your day. It's the way he listens attentively, how he notices what no one else does. But he doesn't speak, because to him, speaking means crossing a line. It means lowering his guard. It means saying, I'm in love, and risking not hearing the same in return. Psychology explains this as a reflection of emotional and cultural conditioning. Many grow up being told they must be rational, strong, practical. Talking about love, that gets buried, often even from themselves. So he likes you, he admires you, he's growing attached to you, but instead of saying it, he shows it. And if you don't know how to read those signals, you might end up believing he doesn't feel anything, when in reality he's feeling everything. That's why it's so important to understand what lies behind his silence, because when you understand what he's lived through, what he suppresses, and how he expresses himself, you stop waiting for declarations and start recognizing the love that is already being revealed, even without words. You might not notice it right away, but one day you say something simple, maybe about a food you like, a place you want to visit, or even a silly little detail from your routine. And days later, he brings it up, as if he had written it down somewhere secret in his memory. And then you start to notice he's paying attention, a different kind of attention, too attentive to be casual, too gentle to be just friendly. Men rarely say, I'm in love outright. But they say it when they remember how you take your coffee, when they notice you're quieter than usual and ask with genuine concern, are you okay? When they wait for you to get home just to know you're safe. when they offer to solve a problem that isn't even theirs, but insist on being by your side, like someone who's already chosen to protect you, even if they're not fully aware of it yet. Those subtle changes say a lot. The way they listen when everyone else just talks, the way they care about things no one else notices, the time they give you without expecting anything in return. It's in those little gestures where love starts to slip through, even if the words haven't yet found the courage to confess it. Because when a man is falling in love, he begins to become part of your daily life, not by invading, but by fitting in. And with every small act of care, with every unexpected memory, he's silently telling you, you matter to me. You just need to learn how to listen to that kind of silence, because in it, there's more truth than in 1,000 empty declarations. At first, it may seem like coincidence. You mention you're working late, and suddenly he's nearby at just that hour. You say you hate eating alone, and he starts showing up more around mealtimes. You comment that you hate the rain, and without realizing it, he begins to pick you up and drop you off when the sky clouds over. He doesn't say he's falling in love, but his world slowly begins to revolve around yours. These changes are almost imperceptible until you start to notice that he's rearranged his own plans to include you in them. That trip with his friends, he postpones it. That meeting that was always a priority, now he checks if it can be rescheduled. That important match, he watches it on his phone with the volume low just so he doesn't miss your call. And the most curious thing, he doesn't even realize it. He doesn't make a scene, he doesn't demand recognition, he simply does it instinctively, as if the desire to be near you was stronger than anything else. For many men, this kind of prioritizing is the most sincere expression of love. Because even though society taught them to hide their feelings, it also taught them to prove their worth through actions. And when he starts changing plans, giving up comforts, adjusting his routine, it's because the heart has already made a choice, even if his mind hasn't yet said it out loud. He starts consulting you before making decisions. He begins to think, will she like this? Before choosing a movie, a restaurant, even a shirt. You become an invisible filter present in everything he does. He includes you in his future plans, even if he hides it. He talks about places he'd like to visit someday, but always using the plural. He starts saying, when we go, when we're together, as if that future were already a certainty deep in his unconscious. And all of this happens without grand declarations, without dramatic phrases, but with consistency, with truth. Because when a man is falling in love, he doesn't just feel it, he acts. He changes his route, rearranges his time, postpones commitments, all without making noise, because for him, love means being where the heart asks him to be. And his heart is starting to live in you. Maybe you're living through this right now and haven't realized it. Maybe you're wondering if you're expecting too much, if you're asking for something he still doesn't know how to give. But if you look closely, you'll see that he's already giving it to you in his own way, in his own time, but with depth, with that silent devotion only those who've truly loved know how to recognize. Now tell me something, has he already started to prioritize you like this, even without saying a word? Have you already noticed these subtle changes in his behavior? If so, comment below. He's already chosen me, even if he hasn't said it. Because sometimes his heart has already said everything. You just need to learn how to listen. There are things the eyes say that the mouth would never have the courage to confess. Have you ever felt it? That sensation that when he looks at you, time slows down. That even in a crowded room, it feels like he only sees you. It's subtle, intense. Not just any look, it's a look that searches, that reads, that pierces through you. And many times it's the first sign of a love that doesn't yet know how to name itself. When a man is falling in love, his eyes betray him. Even if he quickly looks away, even if he hides it, the way he watches you when you're not looking, as if trying to memorize your face, capture your smile, learn the sound of your laughter. He observes your hands, your way of speaking, your silences, and when his eyes meet yours, even if just for a second, there's something there, a whole universe trying to reveal itself without saying a word. The language of the body begins to change too. He leans in when you speak, listens with his whole body as if the world around him disappears. And most of the time he doesn't even realize he's doing it because it's not planned, it's instinctual. The body reacts before the mind. It draws near. His shoulders face you. He mirrors your gestures. He laughs when you laugh, touches his hair when you touch yours, as if his body were trying to sync with your energy. And the touch changes. It becomes softer, longer, not invasive, almost like a plea. A touch on the arm when he greets you, a gentle brush as you walk side by side, a hand that lingers a second longer when handing you something. It's as if he's trying to say with his fingers what his mouth still can't. True connection doesn't need speeches. You feel it in the air, in those silences full of meaning, in those gestures that seem small but carry a whole universe of unspoken emotions. And when you feel that look, that touch, that care, you just know, even if he never says, "I'm in love," you feel that he already is, because there's a truth that can't be faked. The body speaks when the heart has already chosen. And in that silent gaze, in that almost invisible gesture, lives the purest feeling, the one that grows slowly, but when it blooms, it changes everything. There is a moment, almost always unexpected, when he lets his armor fall, not all at once, but in pieces. It might start with a simple confession, a childhood memory, something that left a mark on him and that he's never told anyone before. Or maybe it happens on an ordinary night while you're just talking, and suddenly he says something that reveals that behind that confident and reserved man is a heart still carrying scars. And that's when you realize he's allowing himself to be vulnerable with you. That doesn't happen with just anyone. A man doesn't hand over his pain to someone who doesn't inspire trust. He might go out with many, talk to several, but he opens his heart only to the one who touches something deep inside, to the one with whom he feels he can rest. And when he talks to you about his fears of failing, of not being enough, of repeating past mistakes, without knowing it, he's placing you in a space he never imagined someone would occupy, the space of trust. Male vulnerability is almost a social secret, because from a young age he was taught to swallow his tears, to pretend he doesn't feel, to harden. Show pain? Never. Show weakness? Absolutely not. But then you came along, and somehow, without pressure, just with your presence, your gaze, your way of listening, he allowed himself to open up. And that surrender is one of the deepest forms of love, because the man who's truly in love isn't the one who takes you out to dinner every week. It's the one who lets you see the parts of him he hides from the world. The one who talks to you about the absent father, the complicated relationship with his mother, the wrong decisions that still haunt him. He speaks slowly, sometimes even with shame, with fear of being judged. But he does it because his heart already knows that with you, he doesn't have to protect himself all the time. You become his safe place, his refuge, the pause in the chaos, the only person he wants nearby when everything falls apart. And little by little, you realize that the most beautiful form of love isn't always in sweet words or surprise gifts. It's in that moment when he takes a deep breath and says, "I've never told this to anyone," and then lowers his eyes, hoping you'll stay, hoping you won't see him as weak. And you don't see him that way, because in that moment, you understand that he chose you, not just with gestures, but with the most sensitive and hidden part of who he really is. You've probably already noticed it. He doesn't say anything, but his gaze changes. You're talking to another man, maybe a co-worker, an old friend, and suddenly he gets quieter. His eyes follow every movement, his body tenses slightly, and when he speaks again, his voice is more firm. He doesn't make a scene, doesn't demand explanations, doesn't set rules, but you can feel it. There's a discomfort there, a tension he tries to hide, but it escapes in his tone, in his posture, in the silence. This is the kind of jealousy that doesn't shout, but reveals. Because when a man is still emotionally distant, he doesn't care who approaches you. But when he already feels connected to you in a deeper way, the instinct to protect starts to emerge, not as possession, but as an almost invisible impulse to preserve the space he's building with you. He starts to realize that he wants you close, and just for himself. And it's not just jealousy, it's disguised care. It's the way he watches you in public, the way he comes closer when he sees you surrounded by other people. It's his body placing itself between you and whoever he feels is getting too close. It's his hand on your shoulder, the light touch on your arm, the "Are you okay?" said casually. But in truth, it's a silent reminder that he's paying attention, and he tries to hide it. He jokes, changes the subject, checks his phone, but inside he's processing. Because this kind of emotion isn't something he plans to feel, it just arises, natural, inevitable, visceral. That protective behaviour is another clear sign that his heart has already surrendered, even if he's not yet aware of it. He begins to think of you as someone he wants to protect. From the world, from pain, from uncertainty, and even from other men. Because to him, no one sees you like he does, and no one understands your nuances, your gestures, your soul, the way he's starting to understand it. And deep down, those subtle signs of jealousy are nothing more than a reflection of the fear of losing something he hasn't yet dared to admit he wants. It's the fear that someone else might take the place that, in secret, he already feels is his. He doesn't say it, but his body betrays him. His gaze confesses it. And his heart, that one is already there, desiring you in silence. There comes a moment when he starts to want to know more, not about what you do, but about who you are. And it's not a superficial curiosity. It's something deeper, quieter, almost sacred. He starts taking an interest in the people who are part of your life. He asks about your parents. He remembers the name of that friend you only mentioned once. He asks how the family gathering went over the weekend, and when you speak, he listens, not just with his ears, but with presence, with attentiveness. This kind of attitude can't be faked. When a man wants to become part of your world, it's because something inside him is already emotionally involved. He wants to meet your friends, not to control, but to belong. He wants to know what music you like, what books you read, what movies move you, what place gives you peace. And more than knowing, he wants to live it with you. He starts to take interest in your hobbies. Maybe he's never read that kind of book, listened to that music, or visited the place you love, but he tries, he experiences it, he approaches it, even if it's outside his comfort zone. He wants that to be part of him too. And that is love in the making. You'll notice it in how he observes your daily life, in how he offers to join you in simple things, a family lunch, a trip to the store, an evening walk. The place doesn't matter. What matters is being with you, connecting with your world. For him, that's the most beautiful way of saying, I want to be part of who you are. And when a man starts wanting to fit into your life, when he stops just living the moment with you and starts trying to understand what lies beyond, it's because he's no longer trying to win you over. He's already given himself to you. If this touched you, if you realize someone might already be doing this for you, then now's the time to give a sign too. Leave a like, show that this message spoke to your heart. Because when we recognize love that arrives silently, we also learn to love more consciously. And you deserve that kind of love. It's subtle, but it changes everything. Suddenly, he starts using words like us. When we go. Imagine us in that place. It's no longer I want to travel, it's someday we're going to visit that place. He still hasn't said, I love you, but something in him has already included you in his future, and that means more than any declaration. You notice it in the simplest conversations, when he talks about his career plans and suddenly says, if everything works out, I'll be able to work from anywhere, even your city. Or when he sees a beautiful house and quietly says, can you imagine living in a place like that, but looking directly at you? He's projecting, and in his vision, you're already there, as if it were obvious, natural, as if you already belong. Those small phrases aren't random, they're cracks through which a growing feeling begins to show itself, one that may not have a name yet, but has already started to take root. Because a man who starts dreaming of a future with you is already deeply connected to you in the present. Maybe even he doesn't fully understand the depth of it, but you feel it. You feel it in the tone of his voice, in the way he looks at you after saying it, as if he accidentally exposed himself. Because for him, imagining the future no longer makes sense if you're not in it. And it's not just about big plans, distant travels, or life goals. Sometimes it's in something simple. Let's go to that restaurant next month, or I'm going to take you somewhere special one of these days, where he shows that you're already part of what hasn't even happened yet. He thinks of you when he looks ahead, and that's valuable. He's starting to see you as a partner, not just as company. Someone he wants by his side when things go well, and perhaps more importantly, when they don't. He's sketching out his life, and without asking permission, he's already written your name in it. Because for him, dreaming alone no longer makes sense. And maybe you hadn't noticed, or maybe you had. Maybe your heart trembled a little each time he said, us, even if he masked it as nothing, but you felt it. Because when a man includes you in his future, even if he doesn't make any promises, he's already giving you everything. Inside him exists a silent battlefield. On one side, reason, full of warnings, past experiences, promises of emotional control. On the other, intense, vibrant emotion, beating stronger each day he has you near. And that struggle isn't visible to the eyes, but it's felt. He smiles with you, gives himself through gestures, but in certain moments you notice him close off, withdraw, disappear, as if something inside him is holding back what his heart is already shouting to live. That is the internal dance of many men who fall in love without meaning to. They start out trying to keep everything under control. They tell themselves they won't get involved, that it's just a phase, that it's better not to create expectations. But at the same time, the feeling grows, slips through the cracks, and each day it becomes harder to pretend it's not happening. You notice it when one day he reaches out intensely, and the next he pulls away. When he says he misses you, but then changes the subject. When he looks at you like he wants to say everything, but stays silent. It's not indecision, it's fear. Fear of giving in and not being loved back. Fear of losing control, fear of needing you more than he'd like. Reason whispers to him that it's dangerous, that he's been hurt before, that he can't let himself be ruled by emotion. But emotion keeps leading him back to you again and again. Even if he doesn't want to, he returns, shows up, seeks you out. Because when love starts winning over logic, not even the highest walls can contain it. That conflict consumes him in silence. And while you think he's distant, in reality, he's immersed in himself, trying to understand what he feels, trying to find safety in the chaos you've stirred inside him, without guilt, without intention, simply by being who you are. And when he begins to give in, even little by little, it's because emotion is winning. Because in the end, truth always breaks through defenses. And even if he takes time to admit it, it's already too late. His heart has already chosen you, even in battle, even in silence, even in fear. Maybe he'll never say, "I'm in love," in so many words. Maybe he'll never write letters or make grand declarations. But his love is there, in the gaze that lingers, in the silence that listens, in the gentle touch, in the way he protects you without saying so, in the way he slowly rearranges his world just to make space for you in it. Masculine love most of the time is expressed more through gestures than words, more through presence than promises. It's in how he remembers something you mentioned in a casual conversation, in how he clears his busy schedule just to see you for a few minutes, in how he tries to understand your emotions, even without having learned how to deal with his own. And when you learn to recognize that, everything changes. Because you stop waiting for rehearsed words and start noticing the real signs. You stop doubting what you feel and begin to see what he's already saying with every action, every choice, every step toward you. Many women miss out on beautiful stories because they don't know how to read this kind of love, because they think love only counts when it comes with a label, a marked date, a perfect declaration. But true love, the one that grows slowly, in silence, in care, in daily devotion, that is the love that truly transforms, the one that holds you, the one that chooses you, even if it doesn't say so. And if this video spoke to you, if it awakened something inside you, then give it a like right now. That shows you're ready to see beyond the words. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more messages like this, and leave a comment below. Now I understand his silence, because this could be the first step to living a more conscious, deeper, more real kind of love. And before you go, check the pinned comment. There's something there made especially for you, something that could open your eyes, strengthen your heart, and change the way you relate from now on. Don't skip it. Go there. Your heart will know why.